Good evening, ma'am. I'm Juliet, and I've been trying to save the seeds actually. And I tried the method of saving the seed by using hing, then cinnamon leaves, and neem. Besides that, any other method is there? I would like to know from you. Storage of seeds for a longer lifetime, for a longer life shelf.
Yeah, the most important issue of saving seed is, of course, the issue of moisture, and whatever you're adding, there are hundreds. I mean, we are so blessed in this country with so much biodiversity that helps pest control. You talked about hing, you talked about neem. 11 years I fought a case against biopiracy of neem. America had patented it, said we've invented the use of neem for pest control. For 11 years we fought them in the European Patent Office. And I'm happy to say that with no money, no economic power, no political power, 11 years of persistence for defending this country's intellectual heritage and biodiversity heritage, we defeated the biggest superpower in a big company. So yes, many, many plants, but I would welcome you to come to the Navdanya. And every October we do a course on return to earth, but throughout the year, you're welcome to come and learn the basics of what you need to do about seed saving, basics about ecological agriculture. Like I said, you call it what you want. Prakritik kheti or natural farming or organic farming or ecological agriculture or agroecology, but even how to grow biodiversity economies. I think whatever we've seen today has been initiatives of growing, including a cola, which is not a toxic cola, but a healthy cola. That these are all steps. And I hope the biodiversity richness of this state and the richness of intelligence and intellectual richness of the state will create the new economy that is a living economy that supports life and is supported by life.
Namaskar. I have a very specific question regarding Almix. This is something very recent which is happening to Goa. The pesticides which are being sprayed using drone technology. If you have any views on it, both from the minister, if I may request, from yourselves from Goa State Biodiversity Board, and we really need to know. This is also from you, madam. We are a big fan of yours from 30 years. And use of pesticides in spraying it through drone technology is raising a lot of hackles for us. Is it misplaced? That's the question, really.
I think you asked the minister and you asked the member secretary of the Biodiversity Board, but from my point of view, I've dedicated now 38 years of my life growing a pesticide-free agriculture because of what happened to Punjab in '84 and what happened in Bhopal, where thousands of people were killed overnight. Bhopal should be a wake-up call that pesticides are not safe. So whether you spray them in your field or you spray them with a drone, which means it goes beyond your field, is for me just bad science and bad ecology. I do feel for those who are concerned about it, if people are using drones for spraying, they should file a case to say this spray is going further, faster with a drone, and there should be regulations, and that's where the minister will then come in.
Well, agriculture director is there somewhere behind. Neville, where's Neville? Please stand up, let them see. So he's the director of agriculture for the state of Goa. Whatever is put forward, please look into it, because I am not connected, but I'm part of the government, so please look into it. And what Dr. Vandana has said is she has been doing it without pesticides. So I think farmers are educated in this region, but somehow the concept that only if we put artificial fertilizer, then only we'll get more production. I was for a session when I think she forgot to say, I had mentioned it to her. She was talking about the carbon footprints, what everybody thinks of and says. But madam has told me in the morning, and I know about it also, is carbon footprints is not only the thing what we see, it is also richness in our nutritional value in our soil, what is there, which has to be conserved. And by putting artificial fertilizer is not going to conserve. So I can always say, I remember Mr. Parikar used to say that watermelons of Parra, they used to be very good, tasty, and the size used to be very big when in his older days, 40 years back. And what the farmer used to do subsequently, because they were losing these seeds, then over a period of 30 years they realized that the watermelons were shrinking and whatever they were doing was not good enough. So they used to give the kids around to eat the watermelon, and they used to eat it free, and his condition was keep the seeds so that he could have a better plantation. This is how I think we all as individuals have to decide what is good for us. Government is here, but government cannot enforce all laws at one time. Because I can tell you as a law minister that if I enforce all laws, I will not move myself from this seat. So I think, as Dr. Vandana said, even if Agriculture Department and the farmers want an interactive section, and we have to send them to her farm, where from her own experience of 38 plus years, where she has not done anything with pesticides and come out with so many products and such big nutritional value products, I think we have to learn. That's all I can say. But anyway, Agriculture Director, Dr. Neville, will take what you have said and take up what Dr. Vandana said also. Thank you.
And I will just add that, a drone looks smart as a remote controlled technology, but it doesn't become a better pest control technology. And that's why we need to always assess the sphere of impact, assess the assessment in the system's perspective. What is it doing to the ecosystem? What is it doing to the social system?
I'm Deepika D'Souza from Kurpari. Sir, it's good that we have programs like this. We need to save our biodiversity, but on the other side, the rate at which our laws are changing, like our new land development law, or the kind of so-called development that we see, is actually, it's like at cross currents. It's like at one level, if I want to lose weight, I go to the gym for 2 hours and then I come back and have 2 burgers, batata vadas and 3 milkshakes. The point that I'm trying to make is that the larger development that Goa State government is pushing onto us is not in line with what the general public wants. Whether we see the cases of the concretization that we see in the north today, the kind of projects, whether it's IIT, the local people again and again are saying we do not want this development. Climate change, as a minister, we know we have to have a paradigm shift. So unless we have to think Goa is a small state, and we can say that we want to try a new, you need a paradigm shift. You can't work in this system and conserve biodiversity on a large scale, because our very land is being taken over.
Well, I think the questions were further. I am there always here. But since you put it up, I will just say that, see, this is a draft notification. It's not yet finalized. What you're saying about what has just come up. You put your views there, our views will be there. And it's a policy decision that it's a draft notification for 60 days, where you can put in your views and views of the people. But ultimately, as we all say, as you are saying, we are here. When I was born 50 years back, we had a population of hardly 4.5–5 lakh in the state of Goa. Today we are 3 times the population. And individually, each one has his own views. Some of this population which is born here is also migrated from the state. And if you find, see, I always tell, I'll be very open, I don't want to hide anything. Maybe some policies the government does over a period of time, or is doing or will do, will always have contradictions. But I find that from a village what I come from, is there used to be the social stigma, socially, we used to have everybody in that village and we did not have to depend on another village in the side. But those are not the parameters anymore. So I think we are also responsible for things which are changing and the parameters. But what you said has a point. I will bring it to the Honorable Chief Minister's notice. But that draft notification what has come is there for you to put your suggestions, objections, and take it up forward. That is the first point about change in the laws of the TCP. The second thing you said about IIT. Well, I come from the constituency which is very close to it. That 7.5 lakh square meters is government land. Yes, there is a apprehension that there's land at the side, some pockets of land which is in the 7.5 lakh square meters were cultivated. Now, if you tell me there are 10 owners, out of those 10 owners, none of them are growing in the 7.5 lakh square meters. What is happening is outside the 7.5 lakh square meters of land where IIT is supposed to come. Anyway, your point taken, I will note, I will see what we can do, and we'll see how to do it. Thank you.
Sir, but my point is only that we are a small state and we have got a lot of people who are very qualified who think differently. So we can come up with a more sustainable model.
You're welcome.
So we need
You can come and give your views. Biodiversity Board is there.
We can easily try and do things differently.
Please, you are welcome with your suggestions. See, ultimately it is not you and me as individuals. It has to be everybody who has to be part of it. My views, your views has to be shared, no doubt. Like Dr. Vandana has been sharing her views, her thoughts, taking a lot of moments forward. And that's how she is well versed with a lot of other things which have happened. And as she has said, 11 years she took without the support of the political front, and she got what she went for. So it is always there. Political class is there, you are there, we are there. Your views, of course, and I said before also, pesticides is not we are looking at. Even Zuari agrochemicals, though it was started many years back, today they have also changed their pesticides into organic pesticides, if you are aware. I don't know whether you are aware. Now they are selling organic pesticides. In my own constituency, they have put up a shop where they are selling organic pesticides. So concept is changing from what it was before. And people like you are required in society, and we are all here to help you. Please be free. I am there always for you. But questions today are for her. Another question can be taken. I think she has a time. Thank you. Yeah, please.
I don't see a mic anywhere, but I don't.
Mike.
I have a.
Oh, you have.
Would you like to go first?
No, go ahead.
Instead of asking, you need to have more questions to Dr. Vandana Shiva.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
I'm available. You can come on. Please.
It's meant for her.
Sanjeev, huge fan of yours, madam. We understand that as little as perhaps 6 to 10% of the food that's consumed in Goa comes locally. Rest everything comes from outside, and we've been working in this space trying to figure out what can we do to change that, because food coming from outside is not in season in region, it's all packaged. We're left with plastic here in Goa to deal with, and lots of health challenges. What's your advice to a fertile, beautiful, biodiverse state such as Goa to bring back a component of local foods here?
Well, I think the food festival and food exhibition downstairs is a very good example. Since the Punjab days of monoculture, agriculture, assuming that Punjab will poison itself to poison the rest of the country, we've had the baggage of an agriculture of dependency. But that model is totally failing. It's failing Punjab. It's failing wherever it's gone. Africa, they took the Green Revolution, and it's failing Africa right now. The biodiversity rich state of Goa, fertile, abundant rain, sometimes too much of it. I think more decentralization, much more decentralization, and with it more diversity. Definitely not thinking there's only rice and wheat, but seeing all the other. And as it is the culture of gardens, all the Goan houses have a little patch of land. They used to be within the farm, from my early memories of the 70s. I think gardens everywhere, including community gardens. And definitely wherever in a state initiative has been taken to shift the PDS system and the midday meal scheme system and the CSDS, this vulnerable populations that are fed, if that public money is used for feeding poor and vulnerable people healthy food, and with it rewarding the farmers who grow diverse and healthy food, every state has its own policy. And it is something that could be done in the, all the dishes you were teaching. I mean, why shouldn't children in the schools be eating that? Why shouldn't people in hospitals be tasting that wonderful thing? And I think these are policy discussions that need a lot of citizen participation, but biodiversity is the foundation, and your food and cultural legacy is your foundation. That's when Dr. Sneha visited Navanya, and she wanted to have an interaction with the farmers for the seed bank, and the one other thing is, I said, do a food festival of all the biodiversity foods of Goa, because these things help you remember how rich your legacy of food is. And once we turn to that, we both avoid the chemically produced food that is obviously cheap, not because it was produced more cheaply, but it is more subsidized. The subsidy issue, we've done a book which shows that there's the externalities of India's chemical farming are $1.3 trillion in terms of farmers' incomes and environment, and if you add chronic diseases, it's about 3.5. It's more than our GDP is the externality. So we need the true cost accounting, and all of you can play a role in this. But because all of us eat, and the vulnerable get food through public support, through our taxes, I think redesigning both of those, our own eating and the public food system, that is the place where we can start to reduce the dependency. Right now, the dependency is from another state. But what I talked about, a future of fake food. India was taken to the WTO for feeding her people. The US multinational said, no, how come they don't buy from us? How are they buying from their farmers? So food has become, Kissinger had said, food is a weapon. And it's being used as a weapon. And I think we need to create food peace. Peace with our bodies for health, peace with the soil for the regeneration of the earth, and peace within communities. I don't think the land and soil of Goa will forgive her people if she does not reclaim her food sovereignty through regenerating her biodiversity.
Last question.
Thank you. I'll try and make it as brief as I can. I've been in the business of alternative solutions for pest management in agriculture, and over almost 30 years. And I know that there are solutions because we produce them and we provide it to the farmers. Unfortunately, just like you said just now, the subsidizing system by the government defeats the purpose, because the farmer would always like to try and get a cheaper rate somewhere. Or the products have to be sold through the government system, which really doesn't work. On another question, specifically for Goa, biodiversity, you rightly pointed out, meant that you were to save the forests. This is I would say Goa has such a unique biodiversity that you cannot quarrel between feeding the poor and at the expense of taking away the forest. And it's happening as we speak. I visit the forest, I visit farmers in the forest to talk and speak with them. And they don't wish to take the forest away, but they're economically so starved by opportunities, and their children are so starved of opportunities. And that's where I think state government has failed and continues to fail, to provide them the opportunities within their own realm to produce and provide for themselves. They will protect the forest. Without that symbiotic way of managing forests over here, Goa is going to be hard-pressed to lose it. There's an organization called Living Heritage, which apparently has won a case against the government trying to cut the forest trees down. And the way the government has solved that problem is to change the law so that the entire case falls apart. So while we talk and use catchphrases like biodiversity, on the ground it is rapacious and it's not going to work. Thank you.
Yeah, that's another question to her. And
no, to all.
No, I will just say so. I will take more details of what you have shared. I will ask Dr. Pradeep to take more details of what you are saying. But I will just add to what you have just said. See, this Go When brand is basically one brand what we have started. is to allow people, what you say, the vulnerable section which is there in the forest, to give their produce to us, which we sell for them. Now there is another question where we say that organic, now that is pure organic, and these are all organic stuff. Now you require, every product you require organic certification. As part of the government, the Goa Biodiversity Board and the brand GoWell, we are certifying this as organic stuff. So that is why a person who is producing in the forest or his or her product is not being sold, we are part of their livelihood. So you can tell us where, you can tell Dr. Pradeep, we will get involved to see whatever they produce there, we will find people who can buy like you, we can package them for them, and that is what we are doing. That is one. Secondly, biodiversity, I'm talking about we have under agriculture, we have a lot of Goa horticulture units. I know what you are saying, that what he said, gentleman said also, that we are bringing more of our produce from outside. We are tying up with the local farmers. Now local farmers have something where they try to do what is required for them in their particular field, and they grow in abundance. So we are trying to, I think Agriculture Department and Horticulture Department are trying to source what is required for the state of Goa. And if that is, I think chilies now are not being brought from outside the state of Goa. Then there are other products which are now being less brought. So if the farmers themselves get involved in growing what is required for Goa, I think his problem will be solved, and what you say also will be solved. Because Horticulture Department is giving minimum assured support price to the Agriculture Department for the farmers of Goa. That is what the government can assure them. I know MSP is not there in other parts of the country, but Goa by itself, minimum assured prices are there. If Neville can correct me if I'm wrong. And some of the products which we are taking them. So the farmer does not suffer. We take them, and then some of the products which is abundant here also, we are, the same vehicles which are coming from outside the state, we are sending the products there, especially for chilies. So it's not that we are not doing anything, we are doing, but if your suggestions are there, they are welcome, and the farmers whom you are saying are deprived, get in touch with Dr. Pradeep. I will see that they are not deprived. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, I come from a small village, Merces.
Please try to be brief. Yeah.
Please stand up, please, wherever you are.
I come from a small village, Merces, which is very
This is
close
the
to
last question, yeah.
Panjim. It starts from Pato. And some time back, government had separated Pato from Merces and put in Panjim. And they have put the Pato Plaza. If you go to the papers, it's all supposed to be marshy land where the Korgud was grown. I have come, especially I got the thought because he was presented the Korgud rice, which was grown abundantly in Merces. And Goa government acquired that land around 1,77,000 square meters and destroyed around 12 lakh square meters of Merces fields. Now if you see every paper from RTI, the lands have been acquired for different projects. First, the court has come on Merces Kazan land. Now your Pato 2 is coming. Then the collectorate building, all this and another Parivartan Bhavan and some more are all on Kazan land. Government is only dumping the government projects in Kazan land, which is destroying the ecosystem. Now you will say the people are not growing the fields.
Your question, please.
Yes, I want to know how government is going to preserve the Kazan lands and whether they have the policy for preservation.
Kazan lands preservation. See, I remember Vishnu Wagh, when he was there, he was part of the constituency then. He was trying to have a board. Recently, we have mapped Kazan lands in the CRZ plan. And I think the CRZ plan, which is now 2011, which was notified in 2011, is notified in 2022. I think in that, if you go to that plan, whatever lands we can save, I think that is part of the saving culture what we have inherited, and we are going to save those cousin lands what was shown. Where I don't know exact number, I don't know, I can't recollect, but I think it is more than 2 times what we had put into the system now, where we are going to protect them. Now comes the bunds which are to be protected. If you are, I don't know, I'm not old enough, but my father, my mother, they were also farmers, and I used to hear stories that the farmers, who had fields along the bunds, they used to maintain their bunds. Now how these bunds have broken and how lands which were not cousin then, but they were fertile lands, I think that question I'll put back to you. How has it happened? I don't know.
Tenancy Act.
Yeah, whatever act, and it is, Tenancy Act was given for the land for the farmers. You can't just say Tenancy Act. It was given to protect the rights of the farmers. But somehow the generations, the father could not control his son for doing what he was doing previously. I think we have to accept the fact that our generations have changed. And what we have put in, you go to the CRZ plan, you will find how we have protected it. If not, you can come and see it with me, I'll show it to you. What is acquired and already changed, I cannot assure you anything. But what is there to be protected is what we have done in the CRZ plan, is we have confirmed in CRZ areas wherever cousins, and it is almost 3 times what was shown before in 1996. So I can share it with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Are we taking it?
Summarize, Doctor.
Please, be fast. Please, sir.
Okay, Doctor, I am Eliterio Carnero. I am a biodiversity member of Naveli Village Panchayat Biodiversity Committee, and I am a teacher by profession. Now, just to summarize, many people have raised about the food and all, and since it is a biodiversity board, in fact, I was, CM was here. I'm just sharing this thought, so you can also, Dr. Vandana can share on that. As we say, the food which we consume is from the neighboring states, and we speak about the biodiversity, a lot of things are there. I think we need to change the syllabus, education pattern from the basic level, from the school level, because what we have, it is the old system, the syllabus which was during my parents. Now I went through that, I'm a teacher there now, my children passed through that. And we have now national education policy. But this national education policy does not speak about anything all about this in more. What I feel like, the child from Kotigaon or some forest area is given education, it's shown a vision that they can become an engineer or they can become someone else, a doctor, and living their biodiversity, they acquire that knowledge, they go through that education, and when they acquire that certain profession and then the job, they go and dwell in a concrete box in the city and all, forgetting the biodiversity about a village, forgetting their forefathers and parents growing that agriculture and all. So I think all this need to be in the school system, basic education, where they can learn about the biodiversity, make a career in that, or grow their own food, organic food, market within the Goa, where one thing in our mindset, it is like when you are educated, you can make money, you can become engineer, you can become doctor, or all those things. But we need to remove that from our mindset. Even the son of a farmer can be a good progressive farmer. If father is producing just 5 kg of chilies, the same farmer's son with a good education can produce tons of chilies. So I think this liking through the education need to be changed in the school curriculum.
Correct. Yeah. Very good.
And this need to be done with the help of Biodiversity Board. As CM said, the teachers need to be 24/7 research. In a school, there are mathematics teachers, there are social science, history, geography, all various subjects. But into 24/7 to do research, mathematics, social science, history, geography need to be combined with this biodiversity. And then only we can see a self-sustainable Goa and some good generation where this CHIPCO can be in Goa.
Correct, very good.
Thank you very much for that very important issue you've raised. The education system we have is what was put together in colonial times, and it was basically to produce clerks. And that clerical mindset we have retained, whereas our indigenous education system, which Tagore tried to regenerate through Shanti Niketan, he called it the Eastern University of the Forest. And he said you have to learn from nature. And nature has to be the teacher, because through that you learn about biodiversity. Through that you learn how you can have a vocation in your village. You don't have to abandon your home or your state. That's also the reason we've created the Earth University at Navdanya. And that's why we offer courses about how do you live a life of satisfaction and well-being and health without predating on the earth and other people's resources. I think the issue of the story of land grab has become a global story, and Mr. Bill Gates, who's supposed to have been a Mr. Microsoft only, is now the biggest farmland owner of America and wants to control the agriculture of the world in one agriculture. The book we've done, my son and I, Oneness versus 1%, has, literally, at that time he started talking about controlling agriculture. So we definitely need every child to know how to grow their food. That's why, at least where we are, in Dehradun, in Delhi, we have asked schools to create edible gardens everywhere, gardens of hope in every school. And that's something the Biodiversity Board can easily do, but not just growing the food, all the wild foods and plants that are edible. Every child of Goa, if they grow up learning that, can you imagine how much knowledge they will have? The knowledge we need in this time. Thank you.
My wife also, both are teachers. We are fine arts graduates, we are drawing teachers. And what happens when we go with our drawing subject, and after our school hours, we go and
Please, we are running out of time.
We go around to make awareness. We conduct workshop and all. But in the school syllabus, in the school syllabus, only certain subjects are introduced under work education and all. It is not possible. I mean to say, sir.
Yes, thank you.
So it needs to be a full-fledged something.
In fact, we have.
One second, I'll just answer this question. See, that is what the new education policy is about. You are not aware, I'm sorry to say. Let me finish. It is just a nasal stage. What the new education policy is to, what Madam has said, is to change that mindset for clerical stuff. You see, what is happening is, today the new education policy is going to be focused on a child who maybe all cannot be doctors, all cannot be engineers, but at a certain level they can be good farmers, they can be having other good skill sets. So skill is going to be part of the system, and I know what you are saying is part of this new education policy. I can, maybe in another 2 years' time, you will understand what the government is to be done. Subjects are no more going to be 5 or 6 which is being taught. The child after the age of today's 5th standard is going to decide what they want. What you are saying, I'm just saying 5, 6. What you can introduce first is, I will tell Honorable CM what you have said, but I'm just telling you, when I was in school, we used to learn community living. What is community living? Community living. And garbage management, if you see today, I come from a constituency for the last 13 years, I am collecting garbage door to door, free of cost from my constituency, 14 years, from every person's house. But still I find people throwing out. What I can do for them? Hit them, find them? No. It's a part of a system. What you said, I will share with Honorable CM, and what you are saying is absolutely right. We have to involve the younger generation.